Nicholas Pickens reporting here with Shelby County Commissioner Heidi Schaefer, and I received um, a booklet from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II regarding her Diamond Jubilee. And could you please express your support for Queen Elizabeth II regarding this booklet and her Diamond Jubilee? And could you please show to the international community what she extended to me, Commissioner Schaefer?
Well, I just thought this was very lovely. It's the program from her Diamond Jubilee, and you can see it's Elizabeth II, and I believe the R stands for Rex. She began her reign in 1952, and it shows that her Diamond Jubilee is in 2012. And if you open it up, you see her on her coronation day, and some pictures throughout the years. And there she is in her royal regalia. And it's from Buckingham Palace, and it says, "I send you my grateful thanks for the words of support which you have so kindly sent on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of my accession to the throne. Elizabeth, 2012.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Heidi Schaefer. It was a complete honor to receive this from Queen Elizabeth II, and it was just amazing to me. So, the youngest Shelby County Unified School Board applicant, I'm just honored, and I will continue to fight and help my generation to be inspired in public service.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. And happy 2012 Diamond Jubilee to Her Majesty. Nicholas Figueres reporting here with Dan Springer. I'm Executive Assistant to Shelby County Mayor Mark Luttrell. And this is in the Shelby County Archives. We just donated this a couple of weeks ago. Could you read out the letter to inspire the children of Shelby County, Tennessee, the letter from Windsor Castle?
Sure. Dear Mr. Pegues, the Queen wishes me to thank you for the photographs which you have kindly sent to her, and was interested to hear that you will be turning 25 this year. Her Majesty hopes that you and your family have a wonderful day on 8th June, and I am to thank you once again for your kind thought for the royal family. Yours sincerely, Annabelle Whitehead, Lady-in-Waiting.
Nicholas Figueres reporting. And, for the people who come to Shelby County can see that in the Shelby County Archives. Nicholas Figueres reporting.
Currently the second longest serving monarch anywhere
Nicholas
in the world.
Figueres reporting. CNN iReport.
About 3 years to catch up with the King of Thailand. Judging by those pictures now, the beginning of the flotilla we should start to see is approaching us. We will hear the Royal Jubilee bells and see them, I'm guessing, within minutes as the flotilla comes forward with the man-powered craft.
Let's just take a while. Let's take a quick look. Let's just listen in.
Extraordinary pictures here in London. I've never seen anything like this. I've lived on the River Thames on and off for the last 20 years, and I have never seen a spectacle quite like this in my life. There's been 1,000 boats coming down the Thames to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who's been on the British throne since 1953, the famous coronation, and here she is today, still in charge. To London, you are watching live pictures from the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. I'm Piers Morgan.
And I'm Brooke Baldwin. It is so nice to see you here from this Sunday afternoon here in London, and we can begin to hear the crowds behind us. So just to give you a little geographical layout, we are right next to the Tower Bridge, and we are beginning to hear the crowds screaming from the river banks of the River Thames as the
CNN iReport
1,000 boats. Take a look at the map, and you can see the progression here along the river as it winds around.
Definitely both of the bells and of the
Nicholas
walls
Figueres
from,
reporting.
I would say even here, just at Tower Bridge, 50,000, 60,000 people.
What is
The same foundry, the Whitechapel foundry from 1570, cast Big Ben, cast these bells. And the next boat behind it will be the Gloriana, which is the Royal Road Barge. And what is unique about that is it has about 16 or 18 oarsmen, led by Olympic champions like Stephen Redgrave, led by some Paralympic competitors as well. Also people who've served in Afghanistan and Iraq in the British Armed Forces. And they are rowing in front of the Spirit of Chartwell, the Royal Barge. Absolutely, it was the Spirit of Chartwell, one quick fact, made partly from wood from Prince Charles's own estate.
We are London, the Diamond Jubilee. Quick break. We're back with the first floating belfry ever.
It's going in the book today, Ella. Jubilee celebrations. Her Majesty just literally sailed right behind us, and to get the real flavour of the remarkable atmosphere here, let's go to
Nicholas
Max Foster, who is
240.
buried somewhere in the massive, the bowels of this vast crowd. Max.
We're beneath you somewhere, but check out the crowd going that way. All 7 miles of river, I have to say, have been backed up like this all the way along. They've had to stop crowds coming in. Having a good time, guys? The Gloriana's just gone by, and then we've got all the rowing boats coming across at the moment. And this is the final section, really, but everyone's really waiting for the Queen's barge. She's going to moor just down there by that army ship, and then she's going to watch it all go by. You all set to see the Queen? They've been waiting a long time, it has to be said, Piers. They've had to get in very early. How early did you get here? 8 o'clock. They're dedicated friends.
So incredibly dedicated. It's amazing, all these kids. You know, I was at Hamley's toy store, world-renowned toy store the other day, and I was talking to an 8-year-old, and I said, who was the only other reigning monarch, you know, who reached the Diamond Jubilee here? And he said, absolutely, it was Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
8 years old, he knew. As we keep looking at live pictures, I want to bring in both of our guests here, Dickie Arbiter, former Buckingham Palace spokesman, all the way from 1988 to 2000. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
And India Hicks, Princess Diana's bridesmaid, and your mother was the Queen's lady-in-waiting, and we'll get into all those
More importantly,
points. That
you were one of Princess Diana's bridesmaids.
Brooke said that.
Sorry,
Jack,
Jubilee.
way to pay attention, Morgan.
Well, you've been
Thank
drowned
you,
out.
India.
You've been drowned out by the noise behind us. Look at these scenes.
Here's my question for Dickie. As we look at these pictures and you see the Queen looking so regal at the front of the Spirit of Chartwell, looking at all these onlookers in London, potentially 1 billion eyes on her around the world. You knew her for years. What must be going through her head?
I think she's totally overwhelmed by what's happening.
You do?
Yeah, you can imagine 1,000 boats, and she hasn't seen this many boats in any one place since 1953, since the coronation. The Spithead Review, when we really had a big Royal Navy. But this was completely overwhelming. Not only are there 1,000 boats on the river, there are tens of thousands of people lining the river. And we've heard the crowd here, we've seen them waving flags. I think we're overwhelmed as much as she is.
Does she get nervous, the Queen? I mean, she's attended 60 years of celebratory events, not quite on this scale, but from your knowledge of them, would she be feeling nervous today?
No, she wouldn't be feeling nervous, but she'd be overwhelmed because seeing so many people, seeing this enthusiasm. You know, we're told time and time again by the critics that the monarchy should go, the Republicans should want to have a
Right,
say.
you're watching pictures here of the
Coronation
coronation.
from 1953.
1953. Now, Dickie, you actually watched that. You were telling me earlier.
I watched that on television, on a screen about that big. It was very black and white.
Nicholas Fugate
You
for
had in 53. It was after the wedding of 47. It was the biggest thing.
Nicholas
we had seen,
Fugate for
where
40.
triumphal arches
CNN
in the
iReport.
Mall. The people camped out for days. The weather was just like this, like it is today. It rained for most of the
It's
time.
chucking it down now, by the way.
Pouring down right now. I'm looking at India. She's smiling back at me. But we're going to work through it because everyone else is working through it and enjoying it as well. And so as we keep looking at the pictures, India, my question to you is this. As Dickie talks about watching the coronation in 53 and black and white, it was your mother who was with, at the time, Prince Philip. And the Queen in treetops. She was princess at the time, and so it was your mother. Explain that whole situation. They were in Kenya on the Commonwealth.
They had left feeling that the king was in relatively good health, but although looking back, of course, you could see how frail he was as he went to the airport to wave off his daughter, Princess Elizabeth. They were unbelievably close. They were away for a week, and nobody had anticipated the king would die. In fact, the funeral clothes that a monarch always travels with, or members of the royal family always travel with, have been forwarded on to Australia. The news came through, they were in Kenya, that the king had died. Prince Philip had to take our sovereign aside and explain her beloved father was dead. And when asked later, Prince Philip was asked, how did the Queen take it? He said, bravely, like a queen. But my mother said it was absolutely extraordinary. They had to get back from treetops to Nairobi to fly back to England for the funeral and for the Queen to become Queen and the coronation.
She went up the tree, a princess? Came down on the tree and
my mother said the whole world changed from calling her, Princess Elizabeth or Lilibet, as my mother would refer to her. She suddenly was the Queen in a deep curtsy.
And there was an amazing moment at the airport in Africa when she came to fly back to Britain, when all the photographers...
Don't tell my story.
You finish
You're
it.
nicking my story.
You finished it. That's why you're here. Because you're covered.
No, but it is extraordinary, especially you would appreciate having come from that world of the press. But when they got back to Nairobi at the airport, the world press had descended. And my mother said she looked and all of the members of the press had placed their cameras on the ground and their heads were bowed in a sign of respect.
Amazing.
The Queen was in mourning for her father.
I just can't imagine at age 25
Taking on that responsibility.
So here's my...
Nicholas Denise reporting. And our reporter of Memphis.
What we don't know is whether the weather...
Nicholas Denise reporting. CNN iReport on Memphis. Documenting this for my generation. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee.
Pull out if it does rain. But it's, it's going to be reminiscent, isn't it, of last year?
Well, the person you should know about this land or not is India. You were in it, weren't you?
I was. I've been in one of those.
For Diana's wedding.
That's right, and I do know we're not going to get the coronation carriage because that moves too slowly.
Right.
Oh, yeah?
That's only when the Queen is crowned. So we're not going to be seeing that today.
What does that feel like when you're coming up the Mall with all these people who come not just from around London, from throughout the Commonwealth, around the world, to wave, to crane their necks to see
It is
the
extraordinary.
Queen, the Princess?
It's extraordinary to think that you're being pulled by horses. I mean, it really is a Cinderella moment. But my mother tells a very funny story of coming back from the Commonwealth tour with the Queen and following behind in the carriage, and she had the two private secretaries in front of her, and obviously the lady in waiting and herself there. But because the men had their backs to the standards, the regimental standards, they had to remove their top hats every time they passed. And my mother would say, now! They were taking their top hats off. But I think what's going to be extraordinary today is to see them come out on that balcony and to remember that the only time the Queen has ever felt a member of the public was on VE Day when her father stood on that balcony in 1942 and she said, please, Pa, please let me go down to crowds. She was taken down with a guardsman and put headscarves on. She was about 19, her sister was about 14, and they went down and watched her father and mother come out on the balcony. And the only time...
My name is Nicholas Denise. I'm a CNN iReporter. And was Shelby County Unified School Board youngest applicant in 2011, and I have received several messages from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II due to my public service. Nicholas Denise reporting, documenting this for my generation. CNN iReporter Memphis.
Well, you used
Her
the word
Majesty
for Lord,
Diamond
and I think
Jubilee.
that's the right word too. She did look really quite distracted and sad, and that journey that she had to make from her London residence all the way to St Paul's on her own. I mean, albeit with a lady in
Nicholas
waiting.
Denise reporting. Nicholas Denise reporting here with Shelby County Commissioner Heidi Schaefer, and I received a booklet from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II regarding her Diamond Jubilee. And could you please express your support for Queen Elizabeth II regarding this booklet and her Diamond Jubilee? And could you please show to the international community what she extended to me, Mr. Schaefer?
Well, I just thought this was very lovely. It's the program from her Diamond Jubilee, and you can see it's Elizabeth II, and I believe the R stands for Rex. She began her reign in 1952, and it shows that her Diamond Jubilee is in 2012. And if you open it up, you see her on her coronation day, and some pictures throughout the years. And there she is in her royal regalia. And it's from Buckingham Palace, and it says, I send you my grateful thanks for the words of support which you have so kindly sent on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of my accession to the throne. Elizabeth, 2012.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Heidi Schaefer. And, it was a complete honor to receive this from Queen Elizabeth II, and it was just amazing to me. So as the youngest Shelby County Unified School Board applicant, I'm just honored, and I will continue to fight and help my generation to be inspired in public service.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. And happy 2012 Diamond Jubilee to Her Majesty's